skepticism. You hear that word, and it kind of sounds negative, doesn't it? Gets a bad rap. But what if I told you that in the professional world, it's actually a superpower? Today, we're going to unpack exactly what professional skepticism is all about. All right, let's just tackle this head on. Because, when you hear skeptic, your mind probably jumps to a cynic, right? Someone who doubts everything. But is that really what it is? Is it just a fancy word for being negative? Well, in certain fields, think about something like professional valuation, where literally billions can depend on a single number. Skepticism isn't negative at all. No way. It's the absolute foundation of trust. It's the mindset that makes sure the work is rock solid. So to really get this, we're not just going to guess. Let's go straight to the source. I'm talking about the official rulebook, the one used by the pros who live and breathe this mindset every single day. And the definition we're looking at? It's super direct. It comes straight from the highest authorities in the game, the International and Philippine Valuation Standards. You can basically think of these as the official playbooks for the entire profession. Okay, here it is. It's just one sentence, but trust me, every single word in here is packed with meaning. An attitude that includes a questioning mind and critical assessment of valuation evidence. So let's do what we do best and break this thing down piece by piece. All right, first thing to notice, the definition starts with a very, very specific word, attitude. And that distinction, it's everything. It doesn't call it a skill. It doesn't call it a technique. It calls it an attitude. And this is a really great way to look at it. See, a skill, that's like a tool, right? A hammer in your toolbox. You pull it out for a specific job, and when you're done, you put it away. But an attitude, that's not something you can just turn on and off. It's more like your default setting. It's a constant mindset. It's not just something you do, it's a part of who you are. And this question, it just nails it. Think about it. What's the difference between just owning a magnifying glass and actually thinking like a detective? See, anyone can have the tool, but thinking like a detective, always watching, always connecting the dots, always asking why, that's the attitude. And that mindset is so much more powerful than just following a checklist. Okay, so let's keep moving through the definition. We know it's an attitude. Now, how does that attitude actually get put into practice? What does it look like in the real world? Well, the definition tells us this whole attitude is really built on two core actions, and they work together perfectly. It's having a questioning mind and making a critical assessment. You can kind of think of it as a 1-2 punch. These two things are totally linked. I mean, you can't have a really solid critical assessment if you haven't asked the right questions first, right? You have to question, and then you assess. These are the two pillars holding this whole thing up. So that first pillar, the questioning mind, that's all about being proactively curious. It's that gut instinct to not just take information at face value. It's that little voice in your head that goes, is that really true? How do we know that? What if we're wrong about this? It's all about refusing to just take things for granted. Okay, so once your questioning mind gets some answers, that's when the second pillar kicks in, the critical assessment. This is where you get really rigorous and methodical. You don't just accept the answers you found, you evaluate them. You ask, is this data actually reliable? Is this source credible? Does this assumption hold up when you really poke at it? It's that structured, disciplined analysis that has to follow the curiosity. So this whole attitude, this questioning and assessing, it isn't just applied randomly, to everything. It has a very, very specific target. And the definition tells us exactly where to point this powerful lens, right at the valuation evidence. And this is so important. What this means is that skepticism has to be applied to the very foundation of a professional conclusion. We're not just talking about double-checking the final number. No, it's about digging into every single piece of the puzzle. Like, let's say a company projects its sales will double next year. A skeptical pro doesn't just plug that number in. They ask, okay, why? How? They're going to cross-reference that with industry growth rates. They're going to look for new contracts. They're going to assess if that projection is actually grounded in reality or if it's just, wishful thinking. That's scrutinizing the evidence. Okay, we've taken the definition apart. Now let's put it all back together and look at the real-world impact. Why does this one little sentence, this one single attitude, matter so much? Well, the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, when you ensure accuracy and you protect objectivity from any kind of bias, that skeptical mindset is what directly builds trust. Not just with clients, but with all the stakeholders. And then, if you zoom out, it's what upholds the entire profession. It really is the guardian of credibility. And this, for me, is maybe the most important takeaway of all. It completely reframes the whole idea. See, professional skepticism isn't about being negative. It's not about trying to find fault or prove something is wrong. It's a positive, constructive mission to get things right. It's all about that relentless search for a truth that's reliable, defensible, and accurate. So that leaves us with a final thought, a bit of a challenge for you. Because this mindset, it's not just for professional valuers, it's for all of us. So take a second and think about your own world, your own work, the reports you write, the data you just accept, the processes you follow every day. What's one thing, just one, that you take for granted? What's one assumption that might be worth questioning?